Let's go. Today we're breaking down Shedeur Sanders.
I need your undivided attention real quick.
And look, the media is going crazy over what Deion and Shedeur had to say. Obviously, them talking down, calling former Colorado players mid. Are those kind of leadership characteristics you want from an NFL draft quarterback? Today, we're going to be talking about if he is a QB1 in this draft or if he's even going to be a first-round pick next season. All right, so one thing that I've noticed from Shedeur, this drive versus Colorado State was very impressive. I understand Colorado State was suboptimally coached by Coach Norvell, who talked more trash than Deion during the week, which was just absolutely crazy. But still, you're in this situation, you're down by 8, and earlier in the game, his number one receiver, Travis Hunter, got kill shotted. So he's out of the game. And one thing you'll notice when watching him is his pocket presence. We'll talk about that quite a bit in this study. You notice how many bad sacks he runs into because he doesn't step up into a pocket when there is a pocket to step up into, right? His offensive line is not good. It was one of the worst in all of Division I Power 5, but there were so many instances where he would roll out this way and take a sack for a lot of yards when he had pockets to jump up into, keeps his eyes down the field, throws an absolute strike to a player who does break open here, and he does a really good job cutting back and scoring a tutty, and that is what I want to see more from Shedeur Sanders, right? As far as a thrower of the football, especially in the intermediate, he's as good as you're going to find. All right, and then we get to the second and goal, and this is what I wouldn't do defensively if I was going up against Shedeur, only bringing a 3-man rush. This is what he likes to do. He likes to dance around and eventually find somebody open. And he does have this aspect to his game, right? The improvisational skills, right? A less athletic version of Johnny Manziel, if you will. And, man, this is really good stuff to eventually find his tight end in the end zone, and of course they eventually went on to win this game. And what I didn't show you was before this play, he got kill shotted, a cheap shot. Alrighty, we get to this play here versus Oregon. They are getting absolutely crushed. Their offensive line just could not protect anything. We could get into a debate about the mechanics here, but let's first take a look at the pre-snap alignment. You got 3 versus 4 on this side, and he finds this leverage battle that he likes. This tight end is going on and out, and he likes that pre-snap, as he should. And the protection here is at least decent. Obviously, some QB coaches will say we don't want to drop back this far. We don't want to be fading away. You can see he's kind of not fully stepping into this throw. And you can see that this ball kind of just dies on him, but still, the pre-snap recognition was really good on this play. Take a look. Look at the anticipation he's throwing with here. Before the break is when he's deciding to throw this ball. That's really, really, really good stuff right here to pick up this first down. All right, so we get to this play a few snaps later. You'll see that the guard right here just absolutely gets demolished. He literally just gets thrown to the ground. And this was an RPO read, right? You either hand it off or you throw it. And this end actually backed up into the throwing window. This player is, they're just sitting all over this play. This is just doomed from the start. There's really nothing you can't do as a quarterback to get out of this play other than throw it away, right? Just chunk this thing into the stands. You're not going to be able to beat every single rusher, and Shedeur is not able to beat this rusher at all. And it's kind of the same thing here on the 2nd and 17. They're bringing a delayed blitz. This actually gets picked up. Okay, it just eventually collapses this pocket. And what we don't want to do, with Shedeur Sanders, his pressure to sack rate is really bad. One thing that some other quarterbacks who had bad pressure to sack rates, like the Jaden Daniels of the world, is they don't take these deadly sacks. These are these 15, 20-ish yard sacks. You just can't take those. All right, so we get to this 3rd and 6, and once again, the offensive line just completely collapses here. They actually have a really good play call for this this defense. Anytime you can run mesh rail versus a team running, too high man coverage, it's going to work out if you have decent skill guys, and it does. Okay, let's take a look at these passing concepts, and bang, if we can get this ball here, this is a pretty massive gain. This is at least a first down. But we get to the quarterback and we get to the protection. It collapses again, right? This is what happens if you don't build an offensive line to protect your son. That's on Deion, right? So, you don't want to just keep fading away. It's something you see pretty often with Shedeur. We kind of want you to step up into this. Help out your offensive tackle. Don't let the end have the full arc here. Step up into this, and if you know that your primary on the mesh here is going out to the left, step up and buy some time. But instead, you do a whirling Derbyshire, and now rip it. But you can't. There's a guy right in your face, and he gets sacked again for a massive, massive, massive loss. All right, so here's mesh rail, the same play you just saw. And honestly, the first read on mesh rail normally is the running back. And guess what? TCU doesn't pick him up. And this is easy pickings, right? There's all kinds of these types of throws on Shedeur's tape where guys are just running wide the frick open. All right, one thing about Shedeur that I see when I watch him is his go ball does have a tendency to die. He can underthrow just sideline goes. This time he actually puts it right on the money because it needed to be. All right, he's giving good protection here. And look, this is Travis Hunter. This is your big-time weapon. Fastest guy probably on the team. It's impossible to not lead him. And look, I had him right in the breadbasket. You just got to come down with that. That was a really, really, really good throw. All right, so we get to the 2nd and 12, and pocket feel is something I feel he struggles with, okay? So let's take a look at this, all right? Nothing is open. He's just kind of locked in here. This is there. You just got to rip this. It looks like his head is in this direction. Just take these yards and live with it. But he does what I like to call the Manziel kind of hop, right? Where you just fade and you just kind of hop with the football in your hands, okay? So this pocket is still not bad. We want you to step up into it instead of backwards. There is room for him to step up and either shoot this way or just kind of feel things out and go this way. But instead, he kind of runs backwards into the pressure. And you could see that 4 right here. You step up into this. He eventually breaks open right here. Okay, there was time to buy back there. One quick little NFL draft note. This could be your number 1 receiver in the next class. T-Mac, Territoria, McMillan. Either him or Luther Burden. But this game was so incredible. Arizona versus Colorado. Lots of offensive talent here. And one thing that's interesting is Colorado fired their offense coordinator, Sean Lewis, and they replaced him with Pat Shurmur. But this play stayed in the playbook. They scored on this play versus Colorado State. It's a little bit of a tight end delay. If you want to learn more about tight end delays and how the Chiefs do it, it's floating in the top right corner of your screen. So it's a fake little pitch right here to the right. Act like you're throwing everything out to the left, but it's actually this tight end leaking on a little out and up here that you're actually throwing the football. So this is a very elaborate play. This is a good job by the receiver drawing these defenders. Tight end gets caught or lost in the mush. The backer doesn't see him. So Shedeur knows that this is going to be wide open. And this is what I was talking about earlier. There was a lot of open red zone type of throws that were just schemed for him. Now we get to me, one of the worst sacks he took. And while you watch this play in the background, this run gets stuffed. It is now 3rd and goal. A touchdown really puts this game away. A field goal, kind of keeps this game within reach. And it's 3rd and goal with the ability to go for it on 4th and goal. So a throwaway here is valuable. Now, if the ball was on the 4-yard line, a sack really doesn't change a whole lot because you're kicking a field goal. But if there's nothing open, just throw it away. Now, before I show you this play, I want to talk about Shedeur. So he had a tweet, and when the tweet was sent out calling a former player mid, using I own. I don't know. I know that's short for I don't, but that's just crazy. The NFL odds for him dropped from plus 100 to plus 300, but he's still the favorite to go number one overall in next year's NFL draft, not only according to the odds, but sites like NFL Draft Buzz. And that perplexes me because you take a look at a tweet like this from Ben Baby, his QBR is not good. Even if you compare someone like a Jaden Daniels, who took a massive leap in his final year, his QBR was a lot better than Shedeur's. Now, his supporting cast wasn't nearly as bad, or wasn't nearly as good as some of the other quarterbacks in last year's NFL draft or in this year's NFL draft. Take a Carson Beck, whose supporting cast is absolutely immaculate. Shedeur did not have a great supporting cast, in particular with the offensive line. But this final sack is on him, all right? So it's 3rd and goal. This is a quick variation, it looks like, once again, of mesh. I don't like this play call at all. It just jumbles everyone in here. But you don't need to be drifting this far back, right, when all your routes are over here. Okay, you want to stay closer to this line of scrimmage, and if nothing is there, just throw it away, and you can go for it on 4th down. And you see right here, he takes a really bad sack. He still has a chance to throw it away here, and he just eats an absolutely horrible sack. And this is what I'm talking about as far as his QBRs. You take a look at his touchdown to interception ratio, it is really good. He only threw 3 interceptions last year, but that's because he rarely would throw the football unless the guy is just absolutely positively wide open. There's not really a whole lot of tight window throws. And once again, he eats a lot of sacks. And normally someone with a low interception number like 3, your QBR is going to be pretty good because it normally means you're pretty efficient. You don't put the ball in harm's way. But because he takes so many sacks, he took at least 3 sacks in every game that he played last year. And in only 2 of those games, he didn't have at least 4 sacks. That is an absurd amount of sacks. Yes, the offensive line is bad. Yes, you saw some of those Oregon reps where, he really didn't have a whole lot of room to operate at all. And a lot of that's on Deion and the recruiting. You've got to put together a better offensive line and recruit it better out of high school. But the truth is, this next year, he's not going to have, his best running back, Edwards, but he does return Travis Hunter and some other really good offensive pieces. Still, I do not view him as the number 1 quarterback in this draft. One guy that I'm a little bit higher on than most is Kaidon Salter at Liberty. I know it's a little bit of a deep cut, but, I would put Carson Beck ahead of him. I would put a Riley Leonard, who I think is going to move up this past year. But overall, Quinn Ewers is another guy I think that's just overrated. I'm fading Quinn, and I'm also fading Shedeur this next year. I would not draft him with my number 1 overall pick or an early first-round pick. But let me know what you guys think. Who is the best quarterback in this next year's draft? It is Power Hour NFL. Boom! I want to shout out our friends at nooffseason.com. I do a show on their network, and they do really good stuff in the sports card community. Make sure you check them out, nooffseason.com. There will be a link down below. And tonight, we are doing some brisket. Let's go. Ha, ha, ha.